Hi, my name is Marie De Vera, and I'm sorry to say, but I do not have a partner. It was my fault. I didn't post the needing a partner message on the discussion board. I should have done earlier this week. So I think everybody has done their presentations, their debate. So it would be really late for me to go back and ask anybody to be my partner. So I'm just going to have to do this on my own and go ahead and discuss the pros and cons for the two issues that I picked. So for the first issue was about intellectual property. I'm going to go ahead and discuss the pros first. The pros is having intellectual property is to protect the methods and design of information that the person or company has designed or created. And when used correctly, intellectual property can significantly improve the company and even create revenue for it. So for example, a company like Nike could come out with a design for a new shoe that enhances a person's athletic performance. They would of course use intellectual property to go ahead and protect that design so that other companies like Adidas or even Skechers can't steal their design and use it for their own personal gain. So that's the pro of having intellectual property, is protecting that design or anything that you have that you feel like it is you're entitled to you and you have ownership to it. And then example of a failed intellectual property conflict was in social media movie, which is known as the Facebook movie, when the Winklevoss twins was trying to sue Mark. Of course, taking ownership of creating Facebook. This showed that anybody could run off and take your intellectual property if you don't patent it or if you don't claim ownership to it. And of course, either copyright it or trademark it. This could be stolen by anybody who deems that they feel like it was also theirs. Another way to prevent that is to sign a disclosure or to make another party sign a disclosure. For example, if you're an employer and your employee is using or is creating something for you, you would have them sign a disclosure agreement saying that this is intellectual property. You're not allowed to distribute or give it to anybody else. So that's a way to protect it. Another pro having intellectual property is, for example, if you have trade secrets, that's actually governed by state-specific laws. So if somebody were to take that away from you or to steal your trade secrets, this could be upheld in court and in trial. And the owner can go ahead and proceed with a prosecution case. So therefore, if intellectual property is correctly done the right way, you could have legal rights to your property. So that's pretty much the pros for intellectual property, and I'm going to go ahead and use explain the cons. The cons is that, for example, I myself have worked as a contractor for a previous company who I designed and created a website for. After that website was created, I could not use it for my portfolio or even show it to anybody because I signed an agreement saying that was intellectual property of that company, and therefore I could not show that website or even say that it was my own. So that's kind of a con of having that, because as a contractor and somebody who is basing their works off their portfolio, if you're coming across something that has intellectual property, then you're not able to use it and therefore cannot show it as your own work. Another con is, for example, an intellectual property ideas may not also be patentable. According to an article in the Wall Street Journal, to be patentable, invention must be new, useful, and not obvious method or process described in enough detail that can be reduced or practiced by a person with the relevant technical expertise. So to sum that up, it's basically saying that, for example, if a company wants to claim a team building exercise as their intellectual property, that's not exactly something they can do, because that is so generic and could really be used by anybody, and that's not something that's created by someone who just came up on their own, unless it was, of course, using specific terms or specific products from that company. And so that would be the cons of intellectual property, along with if there is a disclosure signed. A lot of companies and employees invest so much time in, these intellectual property disclosures. There's so many different technical terms. They vary, and it can be very hard to understand, and also read between the lines. So that's it for my intellectual property presentation, and my next video is going to be about outsourcing jobs.